In this segment, we're going to look at cutting curves on the bandsaw. Typically, we don't use the bandsaw for doing any straight cuts. That's typically taken care of on the table saw or on the miter saws. But any curved cuts, this is what we need to use. So I've drawn just a concave and convex curve on here. I've done it in felt pen just so it's easier to see. So once that's done, then you have to get the saw set up. Typically what we want to do is we want to set the guide post, and these are basically the bearings that keep the blade from deflecting and twisting. We want to get that set about the thickness of a coin above your material, okay, just so it slides underneath. If you have it up too high like that, you get more blade deflection, which means the blade twists. It's harder to keep it on the line you're cutting. Also, there's more blade exposed to potentially be hurt on. So we're going to have the bottom of this about the thickness of a coin above your material. Okay, so we're good there. Now for this demonstration, I'm going to have to stand off to the side a little bit just so you can see it. But typically you would want to stand just like this, having your eyes in line with the blade, with your line, and you're going to follow along. Okay? On this, one of the biggest problems people have is they get to the curve and then they try and curve real quickly to cut their curve. It's kind of like riding a bike. When you see the corner, you have to start anticipating it. Same thing with cutting on a bandsaw. You have to anticipate that corner, you see it coming, you have to start getting ready for it and adjusting your steering, basically. Okay, same thing on the bandsaw. Once you're coming down here, you have to anticipate the curve. Then here, we're going to have to anticipate it back. Okay, so I'll just try and demonstrate that for you right now. Okay, so typically you would start just like this, okay? But where I want you to focus is down here, okay? We're cutting to the waist side of the line, okay? Which is, in this case, this side. And we're going to start cutting. Now right now, the cut is relatively straight. Once I get to this curve, I'm going to have to start rotating this end of the material over in this direction, okay, for right now, okay, to follow that line. So I'm starting to get close to my curve. Now, you'll notice this end will gradually go over that way. So right now it's nice and in line, okay, it's going straight into the saw. Now we're following that curve, nice and slow. Now you can see that this piece, yes, I've moved forward, but it's also moved way to the right in order to follow the line. Now it's coming back in this direction, okay, to follow this line the other way. So now I'm going in that direction with this end. I'm still always going forward though. Now I'm just going to change things for a moment so that you can see everything at work here. So I'm just going to shut it off. Okay, continuing along here, just make sure your hands are never in line with the blade. They're always off to the side, and when possible, cut with one hand. Okay, so we're slowly moving forward, but moving the end back and forth to follow our line. Want to get back to my line a little closer, so I don't have quite so much to sand. And back to my line. Again, cutting slowly. Okay, try and stay on your line. If you get off of your line, I'll try and get off the line. Okay? Don't try and correct that really quickly. Just gradually get back to your line by continuing, and eventually it'll start to come back. Okay, as we're gradually getting back to our line, there we go, and continue along. So go slow, give the saw time to cut, and your hand and eye time to adjust to the curve. Okay, again, keep your hands out of line with the blade so you don't rotate into the blade. So again, I'm still basically just rotating, just like a turntable. Okay, I'm just rotating the piece of wood in that direction. Getting offline a little bit, so we just bring it back. Keep continuing on here. Again, I'm always adjusting my hand, and this is actually a good way to do it, just with one hand. This isn't for demonstration purposes, so my hands don't get in the way of the camera. It's just a little easier to do with one hand if your hand is big enough. Okay, so we're nearing the end. So let's continue our circle until our two saw cuts meet. Right there. Shut it off, wait for it to stop. Okay, and then what you can do, because it's kind of captive in there, lift this up. Here's our circle. Back that out, and we're left with our circle. We would recut this part, obviously, but now we can go and put that on the lathe or the edge sander, whatever the case may be. And that's how you cut circles. Just make sure you keep your fingers out of line of the blade, because they are rotating into the direction of the blade. Now we have to do a tight radius, one that we won't be able to do in one cut. We're going to do it in a series of cuts that are going to go kind of like this. Cut off there, cut off across here, staying to the outside of our line, cut off across here, cut off, something like that. Okay, then once that's done, then we can take it to the edge sander and clean it up. Okay, so let's do the first cut, just line segments basically. Okay, now we'll do this one here. Don't use your finger to move these out of the way. Use a pencil or a scrap piece of wood. Okay, then we'll do this one across. And then we'll do this last one. And since we're right there, we'll take off that a little bit right along like that. And we use line segments to rough out our radius. Okay, so that radius is smaller than 4-inch diameter, which is about as small as we can do with this particular blade. Okay, so that's how we finish. And now we're going to go to the edge sander and we'll round down or sand down to that rounded line. Okay, we're just now going to go through the edge sander. This is what we use to basically to sand concave and convex curves that we've cut perhaps on the bandsaw. This is not used for making things straight. Okay, it's not particularly accurate. You have to do things by eye. To make things straight, we use the table saw, the miter saw, the jointer to a certain extent. Okay, so this isn't for making things straight. This is used for shaping curves. So we have our straight area right here, and then on this end, okay, you can do radius. Okay, so we're going to just show you doing a curve like this, okay, that we cut earlier on the bandsaw. We've saved our line. That's really important. That's what we have to sand down to. If there's no line there, you don't know how far to sand, and you may sand way too far. So we want to sand down to that line. So obviously, I'm going to use this end to do the concave curves, and I'll do as much as I can of the convex curve on this straight part of the sander. Now, a couple safety things to be concerned about. Run the dust collector. Again, I won't run it when I'm doing this demonstration, just so I don't have to shout over it, so you can hear me. Also, really, really important is the blade or the belt direction. It goes in this direction. You can't point an edge into the direction of the belt. If you do, it's going to grab the piece and throw it out of your hands very quickly. Okay? By the time you react, your hands are up against the belt, which is not a great way to get a manicure. So you want to think about your curves, think about your straight lines, and think about those edges. Okay? So let's just say we are doing this. We wanted to put a radius on here. If I turn this on right now, it's going to catch that corner and throw the piece out. So in this fashion, if I wanted to do that corner, I would hold it this way so that this long edge is going with the direction of the belt. Okay, so that's very important. There's a stylized arrow up here in case you ever forget what direction the belt's going. It's showing you that it's going that direction. Okay. Watch that you don't shave that corner off or sand that corner off. Now we don't want to sand this corner off. So that's all we can really do on the straight part. And we could sand it, but we got rid of our bandsaw marks, but we have not got rid of our line. Now we're going to come over here and we're going to sand down to our line. Nice and smooth. Okay. And we're not going to do here. That's already been done. We're going to come over here. Continue along. And that's what you want to end up with, so you don't have any bandsaw marks. This one's tighter than the other one, and it's convex. So we're going to do that all on here. Now, keep in mind the direction of the belt, the way it rotates. Okay, it's going in that direction. So we want our long edge to be going in that same direction, this edge here. Okay, we're going to go up to about the apex, okay, till that edge is almost 90 degrees. Then we're going to stop. Then we can't go like this. If we go like that, with this long edge going into the direction of the belt, it's going to catch it and pull it out of our hands. So to do this portion of the circle, all we're going to do is flip it over. So we're working blind a little bit. And we're going to sand to there, and we're going to look. We're going to sand a little bit more until we get down to our nice radius line. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. We don't want to sand the line off. Okay, a line is the path we're trying to follow. If we get past that line, then we're just guessing at our pattern. Okay, right up to about that apex. Okay, so that's looking good. We can still see our line. That's really important. And all of our bandsaw marks are off the edge. Okay, so now to do this side, we're not going to push it in like that. We're going to flip it over. And a little bit more. See, our line is right there. We don't have over an excess of material. Maybe get that one. We're not going to take any more off right here. We might take a little bit more there. And that's what we're looking for. That's how you do a sharp radius or tight radius on the edge sander.